Hello everyone. So very good evening. Just a minute. We'll start the session. Okay. So what we discussed in the last session. So we saw that. So how to work with a named stage. So when we are loading the data from table to stage and then stage to file. So we have file to stage and then stage to table. So we have used put command, right? And then when it is coming to stage especially, we have used the named stage. Here when we are uploading the named stage, so we don't have any restriction, right? Any user can able to use, and then we can use it for any table. So this is what we discussed. Now coming to, so when we are loading the data from file to stage to table, suppose if whatever the file you are keeping in stage area, if that particular file is having any errors, then how to handle that, right? So you need to so know how to implement validations here. How to implement validations? It means, suppose, let me show you one example here. So we have validation errors, right? So when you come to this, see this one. So we have a file here. We have so when you observe this file, this is the data. Observe the employee ID here. These are numbers, right? Numerics. And when you created a table, so data types with this particular table, so structure in your Snowflake, then what about these two things? When you create it as a number, so this is a characters, right? Then it will not allow into this particular column, right? It will not allow you to load. It will throw error, right? This is a error. But when we are loading this file into the stage, any stage area, then whatever the file available, the data available in this particular file, the same data it will go to your stage area. But when you are loading from the stage to table, we need to identify what are the errors, right? Here, so we have multiple validations. Like what we can do is, before loading the data, before loading to table, we can able to see what is the errors. What is the errors? What are the errors we have? By using option called validation mode. Mode equal to return errors. Return errors. Validation mode equal to return errors. We have a option. When you use this option in a copy command, what it will do is it will give you errors for us in that particular file. If you have any errors in that particular file, then it will throw the errors related issues. So what is the mm, errors so we have in that particular file? So when it is compared to table stage. And one more thing, remember, always validation mode equal to return errors. Always what it will do is it will list error details in file when compared to the stage. Always it will display error details. When you use validation mode equal to return errors, another interview question will be, it will not load any data to the table. When you are using in a copy command, it will not load any data to table. Now let's observe this, how we can able to implement this. Now what we will do is, whatever the file we are seeing here, right? So this particular file, we will keep it in a stage area, and so we will load it into the table. If you want to load this into the table, then what you have to do? So we have to create table structure, right? Now let's observe this. What we will do is, we are going to create a table structure here. Now when we create a table structure, let me come here. Now here the table name is EMP validate. We are using EMP validate, and these are the column names. Okay. Now observe employee ID. What is the employee ID we have given? Integer. Integer we have given. Now the table structure we created here, EMP validate. If you observe, see this one, we have a table, right? Okay, this is fine. Now when you are loading the data into this particular table, then what you have to do? So we need to first keep the file into this particular table stage area, right? When the table is created, you will have the table stage list, the rate, percentage. So what is the table? This is a table, right? When you observe this, you can able to see the table stage, but we don't have any file here. To keep the file into the stage area, what we need to do? We have to use a put command, right? Let's come here. So let's implement the put command here. Wherever the file is available, so we will copy the path and we will keep that into at the rate percentage emp validate. Okay. Now, so we need to load the data into this particular file, whatever the file is available here. First we need to load that particular file into this particular stage area. Now where the file is available, this is the file, this is the path. Now hold your shift button, right click, copy as a path. When you click on copy as a path, come here, just to give that particular path. When you execute it here, it will not work here, right? This is put command. So where we have to execute the put command, we need to connect it to CLI, right? So let's come to the command prompt. You come to command prompt, how to connect snow SQL space minus a means account, again space, where our account details. Account details are, let me copy from here. This is the account details from here to here. Now connect it, copy, right click. Now these are the account details. Snow SQL space minus A means account space. These are the account details. Now just hit enter. Now it is going to connect it to our Snow SQL. So once it is connected, let it connect. Then what we can use? We can use copy command, right? So directly we can use copy command. Let's edit this. Let it connect Snowflake. Then password. I have given a password. Now use database name. Now we are into the database. Now we have to give this put command. When you give this put command, so it will load the file into this particular stage, right? Now the file come into this particular. So this is the named stage we are using. If you observe list at the rate percentage, this is our table stage area. Now the file is available, but this particular file, whatever the file we have loaded here, this particular file is having these errors, right? When compared to the table. Now, when we are implementing a copy command, observe this, what it is going to do exactly here. Now let's copy this, copy into, this is the EMP validate is the table, and we are going to load it into the table from the stage area. Sorry, from what is the stage EMP. So at the rate percentage, the table name. This is the stage area, and we are going to use this, and just use this instead of using validation mode equal to return errors. Just observe what it is going to throw the error. See this one. When you run this, if you try to load, see this one, numeric value snow is not recognized, right? So file, so in this particular file, line 4, character 1, row 3, right? So EMP validate. So if you would like to continue, so you can use, so skip file or continue, on error options, all these options it is giving, right? What it is telling, then when it is comparing with the table structure, what is the table structure here for EMP validate? Observe this one. What is the table structure we created? ID equal to number. But here, if you observe the ID, so we have a characters. That's why it is throwing this error when you are running this. Now, one thing, so let's understand, before loading the data into the table from the stage area, this is the stage, right? This is the stage. From this stage area, before loading the data into this table, so what we are doing, so here observe this, validation mode equal to return errors. What we are implementing here, validation mode equal to return errors. Now observe this, when you use validation mode equal to return errors, now observe this one, what will happen? Just run this. Now when you run this and see this one, when you are using validation mode equal to return errors, it will display the error related details in that particular file. See this one, two errors we have. One is snow is not recognized. Another one is flake is not recognized. So we have two records, right? Snow and flake. So this one, these two are not recognized. And what are the other details it is giving? See this one, line 4 and 5. This is the file. So which file we have error? And it is telling that, see this one, column name, right? Employee ID. Which column we have error? Employee ID. And the rejected records, these are rejected records. It is clearly giving the information when you are using validation mode equal to return errors. This is the one way how we can able to identify the errors related in a file when compared to table structure. And one thing, so here what we discussed, validation mode equal to return errors, it will not load any data even though if your file is valid file when compared to the table structure. Suppose, so here when you created a table, we will create another table structure. Observe what we are doing. We are creating a another table structure, EMP validate underscore test. When you are creating another table structure, we have a ID, name, salary, same columns, right? But so here instead of integer, so we are going to so create it as a string. When it is string, what will happen? It has to allow, right? So whether it is a number or whether it is a so character, it has to allow, right? The table created. If you observe validate underscore test, see this one, imply ID character, right? Then this particular thing it has to allow, right? But before that, this is a table, right? If you want to use this particular file into this particular table, this we kept it in a table stage area, then it will not allow you. Then what you have to do again, so emp validate underscore this particular table stage, we need to load the file. Now again copy, come here, right click, just enter. Now observe this. So this is source, target, and then so the file has been uploaded. Status is uploaded. Target compression, zip. Status has been uploaded here. Okay, that is fine. Now let's come to the this scenario. Now observe this. When you copy this and the file is available in emp validate underscore test, this stage, right? And then we are trying to load from this particular table to stage to table. When you are loading this, see this one, what we are using? Validation mode equal to return errors. When you use validation mode equal to return errors, it will not load any data, even though if you don't have any error. Now observe this one. When you use this command validation mode, just it will identify error details. That's it. Other than that, it will not do anything. Now observe this one. When you run this, see this. Do you have any error details? No. But is it loaded the data from the stage to the table? Refresh it and observe this one. Zero. Because when you are using this command, what will happen is it will not allow you to load the data into the table from the stage area, because so this command only it will observe the syntax, it will return errors. That's it. Okay, so understand carefully this one. Okay, now so when you run this, it didn't have any errors, it didn't display it, and data also not loaded. If you want to load the data, we won't use that validation mode equal to return errors. Then we can run only this up to here. See this one, till here we can able to load. This one you can comment it. See this one. Now if you load this, then it will allow you to load the data into the table. See this one. Now it is loaded the data into this table when you are not using validation mode equal to return errors. This is the one option. Another thing, okay, suppose if you have, so we have used, I don't want to, okay, when we are load before loading, I don't want to check. So just I want to load all valid records, all valid records into the table. We want to load all the valid records into the table. Then how to do that? We want to ignore invalid records. I don't want to bother about invalid records. How many valid records? Just load it. So we can ignore invalid records. Then, so we have an option called on error equal to continue. On error equal to continue option. All these options will be available in, so when you are observing, so file format options. Let me show you. If you observe, describe, stage, stage name. See this one, most of the things what you are using, so everything will be from here. So field delimiter, comma, so and then skip header equal to. So these are the default values. If you want to change, we can able to change this. The skip header equal to 1. And then if you observe, see this one on error. So we have this one abort statement by default. So we can use so continue, right? And then so this truncate column, enforce length, force, and then so enable so URL, these things when we are working with external stages, we will see that. Now all these are the file properties. All these are file properties. So we can use these file properties. So when we are using copy command, so based on our requirement. Okay. Now if you observe, so on error, what is the default thing? Abort statement, right? That is a load option. But so you don't want to abort the statement. It means we don't want to stop. We want to continue with valid records. Invalid records you can ignore. In this particular situation, what we can do is we can use on error equal to continue like this. Now observe this one. Here in this particular table, it is not allowing the data to the table because of the table structure. And then this particular file we have a errors. Now let's observe this same thing. If you take, so what is the table? Emp validate and at the rate percentage, this is the stage area emp validate. Still we have the file in this stage area emp validate, right? If you observe list at the rate percentage emp validate, you can able to see the file. See this one, the file is available here, right? Okay, now so when you observe this, file is available. Now this is the table, copy into this table from this particular stage area, and then we have a file format. And what you are using here, if you don't use the on error equal to continue, what it will do, it will throw error, right? We have a error, but we want to ignore this. Then what you can do is on error equal to continue command, on error equal to continue. So these are the frequently used. So so syntaxes when when we are using copy command. Now what we are using, on error equal to continue. Observe, when we use on error equal to continue, what will happen here? Just run this. See this one, what it is telling the file. This is the file status. Observe the status, partially loaded. Partially loaded, it means it is not loaded completely. Observe this one, rows parsed, 4 records. 4 records it parsed, it means 4 records it picked from the file. But when it is loading, only loaded only 2 records. Observe this, here we only 2 records loaded into the table. And see this one, so what is the error? So numeric value, this is not recognized. This is the reason of the error, right? It is giving the information. So 2 records has been skipped and then 2 records has been loaded. Okay. Now if you check the data here, observe this. When you refresh it and come to EMP validate, this one, see this one, only 2 records loaded, right? Now, one thing, once the
Excuse me,
data,
sir.
yes,
You are saying that
tell me.
these properties are related to named stage, but you are applying for the stage area.
Not only for the name stage, we can use it for any stage.
Okay.
Okay, we can use it for any stage, but we can see all the properties in all the additional properties in so your named stage. So these are the headers. For example, so if you we cannot able to see the properties for user stage and then uh, table stage. Now observe this, at the rate, if I observe, or at the rate percentage emp validate, you have a table stage, right? This is a table stage. When you try to see the properties for this particular thing, see this, it will not allow you to see any properties here. These properties, so you can able to see only for the named stage. Okay, but these are the
So
default
we can
properties.
apply these
We
properties
can
to any
apply this,
stage,
exactly, we can
but
apply
we
this
can
for
see
any
only
stage.
for the name stage.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now see this one, that was a good question. Okay, now if you observe what you are doing, on error equal to continue. When you use this, only 2 records loaded. Observe the scenario carefully, only 2 records loaded. When you are loading the data, we have used this particular command, on error continue. Once the data has been loaded, after data loading, now we need to understand how many records failed, how many records not loaded into this particular table when you loaded from data from this particular stage. After completion of the data load, before completion of the data load, what you can do, we can use validation mode equal to return errors. Now here, after completion of the data load, how to see that errors. Again, we can use validate option, but so we have to implement by using query ID. Validation mode equal to different, validate option is different. We are going to validate the data when it is loading into the table by using the query ID. First, let's understand what is query ID. When we are running each and every query here, suppose when we are running this query, when we are running this query, when we are running this, every query, when we are running, each and every query will have unique ID generated in Snowflake. If you want to see that for every execution, for example, when you click on this preview data, it will be a unique query ID will be generated, right? So for everything, the query ID will be generated in the backend. Now, if you want to see that, come to here, open history, right? Here we have a option. Here also we have an option called history. So if you open here, so you can able to see that, right? If you want to see the more details, come to history. Here, just refresh it. Observe this one, query ID, query ID, and SQL text. See this one where we ran this in our this particular source command prompt. What it is telling, see this one, this is a error, this is error. And before that, so we have selected, so this, see this one, limit 100. So we saw the data in this table, right, by using so this preview option. So select star from table. Now for this is a query ID. And before that, we executed copy into statement. See this one, copy into the table on error equal to continue statement. When you run this query, so we can able to see this is the query ID. Now observe, each and every query ID is unique here. Each and every query ID is unique when you are running any query in your so worksheet, right? All these are the unique query IDs. Snowflake will generate unique query IDs for recognition purpose. For each and every query ID will have, so each and every query will have unique query ID. Now, so what is the query ID here? Let's copy. We have copied, and then this is the query ID, right? Based on this query ID, when we are using this query ID, when we are loading the data to this table, when you use validate, then it will show you what are the errors it has available. So what are the errors it has rejected. So it will show you by using the query ID. Now observe this, how we can see is just simple thing. We can use this statement like select star from table, select star from table, and validate, validate. And what is the table name here? Table name is emp validate, emp validate. And job id, don't get confused here. Job id or query id both are same. When you are using job id equal to, this is the state query id. So here let's copy the query id which we have picked. Now give that query id here. Now, when you run this, what this statement will do is, this is the syntax, job ID equal to greater than, it means when it is running this particular query ID, when it is loading the data into this table by using this query ID, give me the validate option, right? That is the meaning of this. When you run this, observe what will happen here. When you run this, see this one, what you have? Error details, right? It is giving the error detail the same way. So what we have run, validation mode equal to return errors before loading the data, right? So once you loaded the data to the table, if you want to see what all the records it skipped in that particular road, in that particular load option, what you can do is we can use job id equal to this one. So job id is nothing but a query id, query ID. So this is one of the option. Okay, so this is fine. Suppose another thing. So when we are doing the validation, another frequently what you will validate it, another thing like truncate columns. Truncate columns means, let me show you here. What we will do is, suppose in this particular, what is the length of the employee ID? Length is 4, right? Suppose when you created a table, when you created a table, if your length is 3, if this table length is 3, then what will happen? Then your file having 4 length, your table is having length 3, then it will throw error, right? In this particular situation, how to handle? We can use, see this one, truncate columns or enforce length equal to true. These options we can use. Enforce length or truncate columns. Both are similar properties only. But so we have so two options here. Why we have two options means in initial versions of the Snowflake they released with enforce length. But later on in community, everyone is asking what is the option for truncate columns. Then they introduced truncate columns option in the later version. So both will be same. Truncate columns equal to false means don't truncate any columns. Enforce length. Enforce means so it will tell that the whatever the length so we have in a table structure, so you have to maintain the same length. That is the meaning of this enforce length equal to true, right? So if you want to modify that, if you want to truncate columns, then we have to use this option in a copy command. Now let's observe this scenario. So what we will do is, so coming to this, observe this one. What we are doing when we are creating a table structure, see this one fully. What we will do is we are going to create a table with emp underscore so t. So just for the validation, truncate columns we are using. And observe this one, employee ID. What is the length we are giving? We are mentioning the employee ID length as a 3, right? As 3. When you create a table with this, now you can able to see the table structure, validate underscore t, this one. See this one, length is 3 here. Length is 3. Now in your file, length is 4, right? We will load this particular file into the stage area, right? When the table is created, you will have a table stage. To do that, what you have to use, same path, you can use at the rate, let me copy this, come here, and we can use emp underscore e, right? Truncating. Okay, just copy this one. We need to load this into this particular stage area. Okay, it's not copied properly. Now run this one. When you run this, what happen? This is the source. This is the so data loading into target. Now the status is uploaded, and then target compression zip file, right? So this is the target compression is a zip file. Status has been uploaded. So once the file is available in the stage, now you can see that list at the rate percentage emp, the same process we are doing, right? empt, we can able to see the file, but this file is having the length of 4. But in the table, so what is the length we have here? In the table, length is 3 for this particular column. When you use a copy command, what will happen? So now just observe this, copy into the table from the stage area. When you use this, only this one I will use first, copy into the table from, you can use named stage or this table stage, anything is fine. emp underscore t. Here we loaded into table stage. And then when you are running this, observe what is the error. See this one, character length limit 3 exceeded by string 1001, right? User character length 3 exceeded by string length, so 1001. It is telling that. So here in the table, so we have the length is 3, but in the file, see this one, in this particular file, the string is 1001 length, right? It means, so we have a error, right? So if you want to truncate this, then what you have to do is we can use truncate option. When you use on error equal to continue, so then it will not load any data. We have all the errors, right? So you can use, so just it will, so try to load only the valid, so no valid records, right? When you compare to this, then what you can do here, truncate columns, we can use this one. What is the default truncate columns or info? Any one you can use. Truncate columns, what is the default? False, right? It means don't truncate any columns. When you give this one, truncate columns equal to true. When you give truncate columns equal to true, then what will happen is truncate columns equal to true. Truncate columns, there is no space. Okay, truncate columns equal to true. Now observe this, what will happen? It is anything you can use. You can use a truncate columns equal to true, or you can use enforce length equal to false. Both are same. When you run this, observe this one. Now it has loaded the data. All the 4 records loaded, but it truncated the columns length. Now observe the data here. When you observe, refresh it, emp underscore te preview data. See this one. Now we have 3. The length is 3. All the records has been truncated based on the column length which it is available in the table. If you have these kind of scenarios, then we will use this truncate columns option. Okay, but one more thing, when you are doing this, okay, so first time when you loaded the data, if you want to load the data again into this particular table, what will happen? It will not allow you to load, right? It will not allow you to load one more time to the table, right? See this one, copy executed with 0 files processed. What it is telling? Copy has been completed, but we don't have any files. It didn't processed any files, right? Suppose, generally we won't do this. If you want to load, just for the interview purpose, just understand, if you want to load the same file one more time into the table, then what you can do is you can use force option here. See this one, force option is the right force. What is the force option? By default false. If you give force equal to true, that is the option we have given. So force equal to true. When you give this option force equal to true, then so it will load the same file into the table one more time from the stage. If you don't give this, it will not load. If you give force equal to true, forcefully we are trying to load the same file into the table one more time. Just observe this one, just for the checking, right? It has loaded. Okay, this is nothing but a force option. And one more thing, we have a purge. When we initially loaded by using user interface, see this one, this is the command by default Snowflake has given, right? Purge equal to true. What is the meaning of this is, whatever the files we have loaded into the stage area. Let's say we have these many tables: emp validate, emp user, empte, right? All the tables we have created, and each and every table stage we have a file, right? Now if you observe list at the rate percentage emp, so this is a table, right? This is a stage area. We don't have any files here. List at the rate percentage emp validate. Now observe this. We have a file here, right? And at the same time, if you observe list at the rate percentage emp all, so we don't have table. Let's come here emp. So detail and then emp metadata. List at the rate percentage emp detail. Now we have a file. See this one. What I am trying to tell is, when we are trying to load the data into the table, first we are keeping that in a stage area. Once we have loaded the data into these tables, still the files is available in the stage area, right? When you keep the files like this in a stage area, what will happen is the Snowflake is going to charge for the storage. If you observe, see this one where you can able to see that is, click on account and then click on usage here, average storage used. Click on this. So in the next sessions going forward, we will discuss in depth about this one. Just observe this where it is going to, where we can able to see. When you click on this, see this one for databases, it is calculating the storage. For this is the stage. For the stages, it is calculating the storage. And failsafe, in the next session we will go with. So what is failsafe? We will see that. It means whatever the file we are keeping in the stage area, it is calculating the size. Based on that, Snowflake will charge from us, right? The best practice is, what we will follow is, once we loaded the file from the stage to the table, always we will remove it. We will remove the file from the stage. If you won't remove from these stage areas, what it will do is, automatically it will be removed from the stage area after 14 days. After 14 days, the files will be by default removed. This is the default like functionality, but whatever the file, it will be available for 14 days. For this it will be charged, right? Once the file loaded, if you think that, okay, again we don't require this particular file, the data has been loaded after checking all these things, so validation options and all these things, then we can remove that from the stage area. See this one, these are the files which is available here. So these are the tables, right? emp metadata and then all these tables. So every table so have a stage, and then every stage we kept some files, right? We want to remove, if you want to remove the files from the stage area, what you will do is, just you will use rm, and then, so let's say from this particular stage, emp underscore validate, emp underscore validate. Now observe this one, it will be removed. What you are doing, manually we are removing. Again, if you check list at the rate emp validate, see this file has been removed from the stage area. Instead of doing manually like this, what you can do is, if you are make so sure about, once the data loaded into the table, we don't require that file directly, you can use here itself. So purge purge equal to true. This option we can implement. When you use purge equal to true, what will happen is, it is going to remove the files from the stage area, but with condition. If the file loaded the data into the table, then only it will remove. Now observe this one. We are going to use the purge command here. Observe this. purge equal to true we have mentioned. What is the purge default value? See this one, purge default value is false, right? This is the default value for the purge. So, so what we are using here, purge equal to true. It means it is telling that remove the file, right? When you run this, observe this one. Now, let's execute this, run. When you run this, copy executed with 0 files processed. It copy executed, but 0 files processed. But if you check in this particular stage, see this one, list, list at the rate percentage emp underscore t, observe this, still the file is available, even though we have used purge. What is the condition of the purge is once the file loaded from stage to the table, then only it will be removed. But here already the file we have loaded into the table. That's why it executed like, but copy file executed with 0 files. We didn't process any files here. It means it didn't loaded the data, right? That's why it didn't remove. Now, if I use force equal to true here, observe this, what will happen? Force equal to true means what it means by that? It is going to load the data, right? Forcefully, it will allow you to load the data. Now run this one, purge equal to true. So we have this, and we are forcefully loading the same file into the table one more time. And then we are using purge also. Now observe what is happening. When you run this, it's loaded, right? The 4 records loaded into table from the stage. Now check this. See this one. The file has been removed from the stage area. So these are all the properties. So we will use most of the properties we will use when we are working with a copy command. When we are loading the data into our so table from your file, right? Now what we will do is, so from the next session onwards, we are jumping into actual properties of our Snowflake, the futures, and then so actual implementations. Then so again, we don't want to, so we don't require, so this particular command, so cmd, we will not come to this. So everything, whatever the thing for the next, all the sessions, so everything, whatever we are going to implement, everything we can able to implement it here in your GUI. We will see all the advanced functionalities in Snowflake, what it has introduced, and then all the Snowflake features. So we will discuss from the next session, like what are the table types we have, different table types. Here, if you observe, we have created these many tables. All these are, we have 3 types of tables based on requirement. We can use different table types like permanent tables, and then transient tables, and then so temporary tables. So based on requirement, we will use that. So we will discuss that in the next sessions. So what are the different table types we have? What is a time travel option? What is cloning option in our Snowflake? Everything. So we'll discuss each and everything. These are the basic things for the data loading concept. So what are the things we have? How to load the data from our local file to our Snowflake tables. When we are loading the data, what we discussed, we can use the different stages like user stage, named stage, and then table stage. And then we can use some of the validation options. We saw all these things. So next we will jump into so other topics. Okay. So any questions here? You can see in chat window. Let me open. Okay. So, so can we correct the errors in the CSV file and load using user interface? Yes, that's always we can do. So we can do if you know the, so what is the errors in a CSV file? That's possible. Okay, snow SQL. Okay, so every time, okay, the snow SQL when we are implementing, there is a limitation, right? In user interface, if the file is greater than 50 MB, user interface load option will not work. That's why we are coming to this particular put command. Why mainly we are executing here put command? Every command we can able to execute it here in your user interface also. But other than this particular put command, if you try to execute it here, this put command in your user interface, see this one, it will not supported. To execute mainly put and get commands only, we are coming to this command prompt, this no SQL. Otherwise, it is not required. This one will not support. If you huge volume of the file, then we have to come to, so use the put command, then we have to come to this snow SQL. That is the main intention behind. So using snow SQL. Okay. And mm, okay, correct. While creating EMP validate table, EMP underscore age is given as string data type, but it didn't throw error. Ah. String means when you give a string, what will happen is it will allow both the numbers and characters. So that is the functionality of the string. If you observe here, see these other data types, we have varchar, right? See this one. If it is number, it will allow only numbers. If it is varchar, it will allow both the numbers as well as strings. That is the functionality of varchar. That's why when you are using this, see this one, for employee ID also we created as a varchar. Okay, that is a data type. Okay, good.
Hi, Dinesh. This is Ambassador.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This put and get command, you can say
Mm.
comparable with the FTP, something like almost.
Yeah, kind of FTP, file transfer
FTP.
protocol.
Yeah. Only thing you cannot do on the user interface or
User
GUI
interface,
due to
exactly.
the size
Due,
limitations.
due to
That's all.
size limitation. Yes, exactly.
Okay. But in the put and get, there is any further size limitations more than GB, more than 10 GB.
No, there is no limitation. But for the
Okay.
best practices, what we will do is when we are doing this, like a put and get commands, so we
Mm.
will make sure that the file size is less than 1 GB. The more than 1 GB also it will work,
Mm.
but it's very difficult to do when we are using a copy command, when we are implementing validation rules, then
Mm.
it will take some time. So that's why the best practices is we will make sure that less than 1 GB we will use.
For the
So we will,
put and get.
yep, put and get,
Okay.
we will use that in a stage areas.
Suppose if it's any much
Mm,
larger files,
mm,
any company, so you have a
okay.
large databases, if you wanted
Mm,
to
mm,
load, there is
mm.
any other special tools?
So we have
Like,
like other, yep,
like
yep.
in
So,
AWS, there is a
mm,
snowball,
mm, mm,
100
mm,
GB or terabytes of database, correct? SAP systems. There is
correct.
anything like this here?
Mm, mm. So we have a option called Snowpipe here, but
Oh,
the here
Snowpipe.
also, yeah.
Mm,
So what
mm,
we will ask the source team is when they are keeping in the AWS S3 bucket, we will ask them to keep less than 1 GB of the file. It's very easy to process. There also we are going to implement copy command only. Okay. Others don't worry about that Snowpipe and then AWS. So these things
mm, mm.
advanced one we will discuss in the further classes. So I will
Okay,
show you exactly how it will work also.
okay.
Okay, let me check other questions.
Sir, I have a
Yes,
question.
yes. Tell me,
Yeah,
Sunanya.
I am getting a little confused between when to
Mm,
understand that it is
mm,
stage area or
mm,
user area or name stage.
Okay, fine. So maybe you have joined a little late, it seems. Okay, I will explain this. So user stage. Okay, I will tell you here. I come to this one. We discussed about. Okay, give you the complete information. User stage is restricted to restricted to only specific user. Whatever the files you are going to keep it in user stage, it is restricted to only specific user. It means if you come to your Snowflake, so Snowflake 5 is my user. Same way you will have your user, right? In one account, you can have more than one user, right? For example, let
Yes.
me show you something here. List at the rate, let me come. So how to check the user stage? We will use tilt symbol, right? This one.
Yeah.
Now when you use tilt, it will represent user stage area. Now you can able to see the file here, right? You can able to see the file with this Snowflake 5 user. Now if you come here, when we are discussing this particular concept, we created another user called test user, right? In organization, when you are working in any project, within the same account you may have n number of users, right? For example, 10 members are working in that particular account, so 10 different users will be there with your names, right? Now let me log in to this particular user, test user. Now I signed out. Now log into test user. Let it connect. Come to classic console. Okay, now what is the user here? Test, right? Now if you observe here, list at the rate tilt, this is the user stage. Can we able to see the file? With Snowflake 5 user, whatever the file I kept it in this user stage, in that particular user stage, you
Hmm.
cannot able to see the file with this particular user. Suppose
Right.
when assume that we both are working in same project. With my
Hmm.
user, I kept some files in the user stage. You cannot able to utilize those files. That is a restriction. That is the like a security reasons we can keep the files. For example, when you are working with any confidential files, you don't want to give access to every user. Then
Yeah.
we will use user stage. It's clear, right?
Oh,
That is the user
yes.
stage.
Yes.
Coming
Yes.
to table stage, we have a table stage, right? One table stage area, it is restricted to other table, other table. It means,
Okay.
let me come here, sign out. We will connect it to our original user. Now, this is our original user. Again, come to classic console. Logged in. Now observe this. Whatever the file we kept it here, suppose we are using a table stages here, right? EMP
Yeah.
validate and then this one. So in
Hmm.
this particular stage, we have a file. Now from this particular stage area, if you try to load into EMP validate underscore test, we have this, right? Validate underscore test table, right?
Yeah.
From this stage, the stage area is different, table is different. If you
Hmm.
try to implement this, observe this one. What is the error? Access to the stage area table, one table stage area. So another table is not allowed. See this one? Understand, right?
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
a restriction of table level. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
previously it is a restriction of user level.
User.
Now
Huh.
coming to named stage. When we are using name stage, there is no restriction. You can use
Okay.
it for any user. You can use it for any table. So that's why we will
Okay.
use named stage. Is it clear
Oh,
now?
yes. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
kind of a various options, correct? So if
Exactly.
you don't want anybody to any table, so then you can use the named stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can use any name stage area. So when we are using a get command, that is fine. Yeah.
I have a
All the yes, yes. Uday, tell me.
if yeah, if I'm using named stage,
Mm.
so my coworkers also can see my work, what I'm doing.
Mm.
Yes,
What you are doing, they cannot able to see. So what are the files you are keeping in the stage? They can able to see.
okay, on the stage. Okay.
Yep, that's it. But so they cannot able to see what you are doing. But one thing we have an option here in a history. In a history, you can able to see what all the queries other users are running. But you cannot go in depth and then you cannot dig it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Here you can able to see this one Snowflake user, right? All this related to only Snowflake user only, right? If the other users are there, just we can able to see the usernames and then queries, but you cannot see what they are doing exactly. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. Along with the recorded session, I will send these validation scripts to everyone. So please implement these things in your trial account.
Yeah,
Sir,
thank you, Dinesh.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
s-
Uh,
sir, if you are
yes, Lakshmi, tell
using
me.
the where clause
Mm, mm,
directly in the query, it is showing a
mm,
number of records. But if you
mhm,
are clicking by where
mm,
condition in the dialog box, it is
mm,
showing a limited records
mm.
only. Is that it
Exactly.
is
The
processing a
limitation is,
limited records?
I will tell you. So this one, when you are using this, we discussed right initially when you work with preview data, this one, right? So this dialog box you are telling, right? Am I right? When you are doing this preview, always it will give you 100 records. That is a limitation here. When you are using preview, when you use select star from table, it will give you all the records from the table. So when you are using where class in a select list, then it will give you it will pick the condition based on all the records. If you have 50,000 records, all the 50,000 records, it will apply a condition. But here, when you're using a preview option and when you are using this filter condition, for example, so this particular thing, it will give you only within 100 records, it will apply that filter condition. Okay, that is the difference.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, we can conclude now.
Okay, okay, guys, thank you, everyone. See you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
please
Dinesh. Thank
practice.
you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
And Dinesh, quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, there is any 1 or 2 sessions, maybe you can
Mm,
go,
mm.
like a question and answer sessions only,
Sure,
how the
definitely.
people are doing.
We will plan it. Yeah,
Exactly. And
definitely.
also there is any, homework sessions also you can able to, give to the
Mm.
students. Correct?
Sure. I'm giving after the class every day. I'm sending these scripts to them. So
Mm,
whatever the things we have implemented here, so
mm.
they will execute it. So these are the kind of assignments for them. Okay, they have to
Yeah.
execute all these things in the account.
And also there is
Okay,
anything, yeah,
mm,
there is anything, Snowflake administrator, Snowflake security admin. So can
mm,
we
mm.
able to go in that route also? Because when I
Yes,
was
we are
talking to
going.
people, yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I understand. Siva. These things
Mm,
we
mm,
are going to discuss the role-based access control and then pricing models. When we are
mm,
discussing these concepts, we are going to cover those things. Like
mm,
here we have data masking concept, and then pricing model, resource monitoring. These three, like three things, most of the things it will be done by administrator and then security levels.
Exactly. If you can able to distinguish, the
Correct.
Snowflake admin, what they will be doing, and there is any Snowflake functional guy, what he will do on the function side. There is any programmer or who will write the code,
Like developer.
also
Okay.
like a developer, and also a Snowflake security admin, like a role based and privileges and users and how to create and all these things. Even though it is a cloud,
Understand.
there is no much work on the backup and recovery and performance.
Correct.
But still, if anything is there, they can also learn something.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
We will cover those things in a data masking concept.
Okay.
Role based access. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.